Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, capital markets analyst and host of your cannabis business podcast. Back on with us is Rohit Srivastava, chief investment officer and portfolio manager with Saroj and Bhanu Fund. He's going to give us an update with his artificial intelligence-based algorithm. It's based on technical analysis and also has predictive analytics. You're also going to talk to us about a CRON update as well at the end. But with that, go ahead and give us an update.
Thanks, Josh. So just a regular disclosure, this is all for entertainment. This is all for learning. There is no financial advice given here. We're just talking about what our thoughts are, and you have to do your own analysis before you invest into anything. Just don't take our word to it. We are going to talk about the cannabis index. Not much of a move. This was where it was about 3 months ago. This was about a month ago, this last week, and it is still hovering over that 475. Either it's going to reverse or it's going to test again. So it's been testing for a while. So let's see how it goes in the next couple of weeks, if it crosses that or if it doesn't. But at this point, it is still like in a testing mode. From the cash in and outflow, this was where we were last week. It was still testing around the 100 million negative, and it is still around that same dollar amount. There has been a couple of moves on some of these stocks, but I think most of them, they have been just going up and down. There has not been a lot of movement. So I think from a short-term perspective, there has been some changes. Like last week we sold ABBV, and this week we sold MO. Pretty substantial gain on both of them. This week we got into two of them, CRON and Innovative Industrial Properties. I don't know, you are an expert in this from a fundamental perspective, what's happening in the cannabis industries, but I was reading more about Innovative Industrial Properties, where they are just more focused on the property management around leasing and around doing that. And that to me sounded like, oh, that sounds very interesting, because that's a business which probably will flourish regardless of how the industry is doing. But I mean, that's just my thought process. It's not any core. But from a technical standpoint, it kicked off, and we had a buy on 1.7 on that. And similarly, we had a CRON, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about from a technical standpoint, how it's doing. So those two were the buy, and we have a little bit of gain on that. Some losses on Cara and Zebra, but there has no been like a sell yet on those. So coming to CRON, so we have been tracking this for a while, and one of the things is that like you can see that the trend is completely downwards. It's completely downwards, and where is the bottom? But there had been a strong signal, but there has not been a strong signal from a buy perspective. And at this point on the 8th of January, that has been a good signal for CRON to buy. And I'll explain you why we think that it's a good buy this point. So like you can see the trend, all the trend is completely downwards, but two of the major indexes which I follow, which is Relwig and the Chaikin money flow. These two, you can see that even though the stock has been going down, the trend of the strength of the stock has been growing over a period of time, and the money flow has been growing up a period of time. What really it means is that even though the stocks were falling down, there were potential buyers, there were potential funds who were investing into this because they understand the long-term perspective of this particular company. But and that's where this is the point where actually is probably 1.8 around here, where it basically was a signal that it's actually a good buy. It was about $6.60 or something like that. The other signal in this one is the stochastics. Like even the stochastics has been stronger over a period of time. And Ravi, which we use very frequently, even over a period of time, it has more positive strength than more negative strength, even though it has been like overall it's trying to project that it's probably not a good time to buy. It's oversold situation, but it's a sell situation. But even with, if you look at the I think that the key point was this point where if you look, this is the key point where basically the decision of thought process about this is a strong stock is probably started on that. It has remained flat from that point, but I think it's, in my view, it's actually a very strong buy at this point, and would probably do very good in this year. With that, overall, from a whole cannabis industry perspective, I think it is still on a holding position. It's still testing. We don't know which direction the stock will go. Even if somebody is investing, I'll probably be in a more cautious investment. And from a buy, sell, short term perspective, we sold MO and we bought IIP and CRON. And that's all I have.
All right, still kind of moving sideways. So I don't know. I'll have to wait a couple more weeks maybe and see which way it breaks out.
Sure, absolutely.
All right, Rohit Srivastava, Chief Investment Officer and Portfolio Manager with Saroj and Bhanu Fund. Thanks again.
Thank you.
So I'm Josh Kincaid. This is The Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.